Talking about siting a nuclear power plant in this country, you mentioned those old coal places and coal installations where there's transmission available. You won't be able to get nuclear power in this country without a state government coming on board as well. And you're looking at just wall-to-wall Labor governments on the mainland, for instance, and we've seen how they love to play a partisan game, ganging up in federal politics. We saw that happen during the pandemic with Scott Morrison. But have you reached out to the South Australian Labor government and the Premier there, Peter Malinauskas, who says he has an open mind on nuclear energy? And of course, that state did the work. It did a full royal commission that showed that at 10% return, at 6% cost of capital, they found nuclear energy would be profitable. And more important than that, they said the state could earn hundreds of billions of dollars through a global nuclear waste depository.
Well, Chris, I certainly agree with your analysis in relation to Peter Malinauskas. He's the most honest of the Labor premiers, and he's been very honest in relation to this issue. He understands that South Australia is a very energy-rich environment. They have enormous deposits of uranium that if the export markets were opened up, they could really transform their economy. We also know that South Australia is very reliant on defence industry. And Peter Malinauskas is not somebody who can look in the camera and tell you that he signed up to the AUKUS deal, that he wants those nuclear submarines docked in Adelaide so that they can be worked on, so that they can be constructed, and then in the next breath say, well, I don't believe that nuclear technology is right for our country domestically. Bob Hawke was the last honest federal Labor leader who was able to put his cards on the table as recently as 2016, strongly in favour of nuclear power, because he knew that the latest generation nuclear power is nothing like what we saw in the 60s or 70s or 80s. It is zero emissions, which is why Germany, why Europe, why the United States, North America, why Asia is embracing the technology to firm up renewables. And I think, the Prime Minister's just lacks a vision for this country. He's a weak leader. We see it on a daily basis. And this government now resembles more, I think, the Whitlam government than it does the Hawke government. And at least Bob Hawke had the guts to stand up for our country, whereas Anthony Albanese couldn't tell you what he believes in.